Hi there, Ski Oakenful here, coming to you from my wardrobe studio, back for another video. So this is one that I found in the archives that was never actually released. It's a demo video I made for an event held at Point Blank Music School on the 19th of March 2017, called Creative Sampling and Production Sessions, where I was challenged to sample a whole bunch of vinyl releases from Brownswood Records and then use Ableton Live and Push to create a track. All live in front of an audience, which is probably why I ended up doing lots of practice demos. The resulting track actually ended up as a remix of A Tribe Called Quest's 1996 track Once Again, as I happened to have the acapella hanging about. That track was from their fourth album Beats, Rhymes and Life. I also inadvertently created a nice chorus hook using the vocal from Anushka's 2014 track Never Can Decide. So firstly, let's have a listen to the track.
You're on point five.
Once again, tip.
You're on point five.
Once again, tip.
You're on point five.
Once again, tip.
Wow.
Watch me bust they shit.
Okay.
This is the year that I come in and just devastate. My style is great, action peoples cannot dominate. My rhymes are harder than last night's erection. Don't play me close, I have this mic up in your midsection. My shit is love, simply meaning that my joint is tight. Amping up the mic, making sure production's tight. Sometimes I might catch a severe case of writer's block, but by the end of the day, you'll be on my jock. Real name's Malik, my hobby's putting MC to the test. And if you front, I'll put my foot up in your freaking chest. Freestyle fanatic, and never will it ever stop. Your crew is his, you might just wanna call the
Hey yo,
cops.
I gotta put some action on paper. Make sure my verse jump up and spread out like the raper. The only tip I got for a waiter is watch the doorknob hit me where the dirty dog should have bit me. That was my train of thought, but for so long I fought. Now I'm at a level supreme to the devil. So turn up the bass and lay low on the treble. We be the Willie kids and you dead with the shovel. Revitalize, revital tribe, nigga. The ladies sweat the style like the squirrel sweat the nuts. You know what fella's good for the moolah. Don't smoke no rulers. We the men, call me Slick Tip the ruler. Yo, I've been treading on this globe, man, for 25 joints. Sometimes Shaitan got me by the pressure points, but I could break a fella down like sex. You eat wheat checks, but still light in the ass and can't flex. If one nigga front, I'ma make Mo pay, cause tonight we getting off like OJ. And yo, I got a dog that bites, fuck the barking. Yo, I got a crew with the beats and the smarts in.
I put my shit up on Linden and the 192. Forever writing, never biting, ain't shit else to do. Hoping to battle, but most MCs ain't ready yet. But if they utter one word, then this is good as set. You have MCs dropping bombs, that's incredible. Some other brothers, their styles are just despicable. As for me, see, I just do how I love to do. Try to deny me of my props and I'll be seeing you. Most of you suckers wanna be down for the tag along. The freaking fame, someone tell them that this shit ain't games. You got to do this from your heart, meaning your inner soul. And if it's real, only then will you be on a roll. I try to stay on top of my game, there ain't no time to lose. 4 albums deep as a quester, but still we paying dues. So hear me out one time, you got to be yourself. Cause if you ain't yourself, you end up by your friggin' self. I'm coming rugged with the Linda Bully type of slang. Hey yo, we'll see who can hang, yo. You're on point tip.
You're once again five.
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 You're on point tip.
You're once again five. Hey yo, that kid is nice.
So I've always loved sampling. My first sampler was a Roland S10 from way back in 1986, and through the years I've progressed through to the Roland S750, the Akai S3000, Logic's EXS24, and now Ableton Live Simpler and Sampler, which I use pretty much exclusively. So I hope you enjoy the video. The vocal recording quality is not that great, but hopefully you'll get the gist. So let's go. Hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing a sample challenge. So very kind people at Brownswood Records gave us actually 11 bits of vinyl, and the challenge for me is to build a track just from samples of those bits of vinyl. So let me just give you a quick run through of the tracks of the records. So we got this one by Diggs Duke, the Upper Hand EP, Trumarker, the Grace LP, William Adamson, my good friend Elzinger, under an East Coast Moon remix, Swindle, Walter's Cool EP, a Weenie Sigoma Band, this is their LP, and Marla featuring Dreiser, and Sexto Sentido, Como Como, the Theo Parrish remix. We've got Dame Arakina, and Nueva Era LP, Anushka, Broken Circuit LP, Dame Arakina again, One Takes EP, LV, Ancient Mechanisms LP, and Gang Colours, Invisible in Your City LP. So just to kind of give you a quick run through of how I went about this, rather than you kind of having to sit through me sampling or sampling all the bits of record, because it'll probably be all day. I've sort of done this process already, and I basically went through each bit of vinyl, and I just very quickly kind of skimmed through. I can give you a quick demonstration now, just looking for sounds, samples that I liked, and I put those into Ableton, into Session View, into the clips, and I sort of never did more than 5 samples. I thought, well, I was just going to have too many, although actually never more than 6 samples. It's just going to be too many to deal with otherwise. So I was kind of quite good with the housekeeping, so I coloured the clips according to what the record was, and also named them as well. It just means you can kind of navigate and know exactly where they are in Session View. I then kind of went through a stage of actually organising them into different categories. So I created 5 different tracks in Session View. I put all the potential one-shots on one column, all the vocal samples in another, all the drums in another, the percussion in another, and then music loops in another one. So it just means that I can kind of like very quickly know where things are and start getting an idea already of what samples are working with each other. So let's go to how that looks in Ableton. I've got push 2 here. And what we can do, I can just kind of run through all the samples that we've got. Let's just quickly name that to one shots. There we go. And I'm just going to save that as well. There we go. So let's just go through the one shots here. So we've got this one. This is from the Awini Sigma band. Lovely snare there. This is from Diggs Duke. Snare there. And a kick from there as well. Then we've got the Swindle samples. Quite like that. I really love that snare. Got a lovely reverb at the end of it. A vocal sample. A nice dirty ending bit there. Then we've got the Dame One Takes. Then Anushka. Nice kind of sub kick there. So they're all the one shots that I took. Then we've got the vocals. Some of these are short, some of these are longer. Let's just look at this one here. This is from the Mala. It's really nice. And the Dame. I really like that one there. Then we've got from LV. Then we've got the from the Trumaka. Nice vocal sample. Diggs Duke.
I miss those days when I was love.
Anushka. That's great. Cool. So then we've got some drum loops. Oh, let's just stop that clip. There we go. Nice. Wicked rim shot on that. LV, true marker. Really like that one. Then we've got some percussion loops from Mala, Awini Sigma band, LV. Gang Colours, and then William Adamson. Great. So they are the percussion loops, and then finally we've got some like music loops. So these are often chord pads, kind of musical sections. Nice. Really love that bass line. There we go. Beautiful. Really like that. deep bass from William Adamson. And then a kind of weird repeating guitar loop. So there we go, we've got a whole bunch of samples there, probably about 30 I think. So how do we go about making a track? Well, as I said before, the reason for actually kind of colouring these and naming them and putting them into different categories is just that I've already got an idea now of sort of pinpointed a few samples that I like. So we'll start off with this bass one, which was from the Weenie Sigma band. I really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop this down here, copy this clip, and we're just going to loop that up. So let's just warp it. So that's the first thing I want to do. Warping is just a way of analysing the audio file, and it's picking out all the transients, and it means that we can then speed it up or slow it down, but not change the pitch. There's a number of things we can do. We could speed it up, slow it down, and change the pitch as well, but it's just a great way of kind of manipulating the audio, and it's doing a lot of work for you as far as actually identifying where the start and end points, potential loops can be. So if we just play this now, what I need to do is find the one. I just want to loop this kind of wholesale really, just as a starting point. So let's just listen through to it and see if we can find a start and end point to make this a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got a 2-bar loop there, and you can see if I just hover over that transient there, and if I right click, I can set 1.1.1 here. And what that does is it sets the start point, it adds a warp marker. I'm then going to drag the start loop point there as well. And then what we need to do is to actually match that up to a 2-bar loop. So if I just play it again, there we go. So we've got this. This is the loop point here, the end point. So I'm just dragging that onto the exact bar, start of bar 3, and then we're just going to drag the loop brace there, put loop on. There we go, so it's looping nicely. You can hear it's kind of pushing and pulling a little bit, which is really nice, and it's really good to kind of keep feel. But I think because I'm planning on putting together a lot of samples here, I think we're actually going to quantize this. Quantize means putting it in time. So what we're going to do is just select all there, and I'm going to right click in this little area where the warp markers. I'm going to click on insert warp markers. There we go. And you can see that it's just put a warp marker on every transient that it's found. So if I just play that now, and then I'm going to click on the quantize button here, and let's just quantize it. Let's just play it now. And if we click on the metronome, and maybe not, might be nice just to kind of give this whole track a bit of swing. So I'm just going to put swing amount maybe 13%. Quantize again. That's great. So we've already got a starting point. I think at this point as well, it's worth actually identifying what the key of this track is, because when we're putting samples together, especially the musical samples, it could be percussion samples, whatever, but it's useful to know actually what key we're in, so what the tonic of the track is going to be. So I'm just going to click onto this VMPK here, which is a virtual keyboard, and this means you can actually see what notes I'm playing. So if I play this loop now, so what I'm doing is looking for sort of the most dominant note. It seems to be coming back to this note here, F. So I can now be quite comfortable and establishing that this track is going to be in F minor. Cool, so we've got that one. Now let's look for a beat. So let's, I quite like the sound of this one here. Obviously, we're obviously playing that together and it's completely out of time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chop this loop up, this sample up. I'm just going to hide the keyboard there. So you can see, there you are, there's the waveform there, it's representation. And you can see where the kicks and the rim shot and the different elements of this beat are. So what's brilliant about Ableton and Push is that we can basically get it to do all the work for us. All we need to do is have this clip highlighted there, click on Convert, and then convert to simpler, and it creates a new track and it puts it into a simpler. And now all we need to do is just select slicing mode, go to note view, just going to put the accent on, and we've already very easily just got the kick and the snare. We've got all these other elements as well we could use. That's quite nice. So what we can then do is then we can just play this loop here. What I might do is just turn down this bass a little bit. So let's just put in a beat. I'm going to put, we've got record quantize on, so let's put that in. There we go. So even though it's got record quantize on, we want to add a bit of that swing that we added to the bass line. So you can see that we've still got the same swing, 13%. So I just hit quantize, then it will give it the same feel. And you can see that it's actually kind of looped it slightly not to the bar. So what I actually need to do is just put the global quantize onto one bar. And then we can just drag that there, so we've got it to a complete bar now. So that's cool. We've got a good starting point. I would say that the beat might need a bit of beefing up a bit. So if we go back to our one shots, there was a nice snare that I heard. I think it's from Swindle. Wasn't that one? Not that. There we go, that one there. So we can do a similar thing. If we hit convert and this time choose a drum pad, it's going to create a track with a drum rack and it's going to put it onto the first pad here. It's still as simpler as we had before. We can actually play that in as a MIDI part, which is really useful when you're playing in beats. So thing to do we need to do now is just choose the start and end point. So I'm just zooming in to find the start point. There we go. Just zoom out again. There we go. I just want to get rid of that next bit of sound. Zoom in so we can get a really tight start point. There we go. Sounds great. And if we just go to the mix and just turn this down and then just hit play on here. There we go. So let's record that part in. let's hit quantize again to give it that swing. So we might need to come back and adjust that snare. Might be a bit too loud. But I think it feels like we're kind of beefing up that kick and the rim shot a bit more now. Okay, so moving on, let's just stop all these clips. We're gradually building this up. There was a really nice kind of beatbox vocal. That's really nice. So let's drag that down to this scene here that we're creating, and I'm just gonna loop that up, I think. Let's just play that. So that should be fairly easy to loop up. I'm just going to click on warp. There we go. And you can see it's already found that start point there. So if I just right click and start 1.1 there. So we need to do the same thing. We need to make that dun, 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 dun. So that's going to be 2 bars. So let's just drag that over there. Great, and then click on loop. So again, it's not the most amazing loop. It sort of sounds like it's slightly kind of out of time with itself. So let's try doing a bit of quantizing again. So we're going to do a very similar thing. We're going to select all, insert the warp markers there, and then click on quantize. And let's play it along with the beat just to start with. That's sounding good. Now, there's quite a lot of bottom end on this. Let's just solo it. And I think because we've got the kick and the rim, we sort of don't really need that. So if I add an EQ8 and then just open that up, you can see all this bottom end here. So we want to get rid of that. So if I just put a high pass filter and then just drag this up here. So all that kind of unwanted information we can just get rid of. And that's just going to sit much better in the mix. Now, if I play along with that, let's just bring up the keyboard again. So we can establish that the tonic for this is the C. So if I just play a C major chord, for example, or it could be minor as well. But the bass line, as you remember, was in F. So what we can do is actually tune this sample just within that clip so that it is the same key as the bass line. So what we could do is we can tune it up 5 semitones. So this is C, so we get to that F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we just click on that clip, double click on that clip, and then go to transpose 5. And then bring in the bass line. So we're definitely kind of getting in the right ballpark here. That's working really nicely. So moving on, there was a really nice percussion loop that I found, and that was this one here. So I really like this kind of a little bit later on where the snare comes in. So it's just going to click on warp again and let's just play that. See if we can find a start point. 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just put that as a start point. Let's just put that just for the moment. There's an option there. Just do the 1.1 there. So I think that's working pretty well. So I'm just going to drag that over. It's going to speed it up quite dramatically. And let's put a loop on. That's really nice. So the start point of that's really good. Let's just look at the end point, because it sounded like there was a bit of a glitch there. Yeah, I can see that it's actually slightly got the transient wrong. So I'm just going to drag that over. So let's just play that along with the beat. Very loud. Okay, let's just drag this down here. What might be quite good is to quantize this again, so we can just really kind of get it feeling that it's working with all the other elements. So I'm just going to do the thing we did before, insert the watermarkers, and then we're going to hit quantize. Now it's got some kick in it, so I think we can do the same thing that we did to that other sample. We can add some EQ to that. There we go, so we're just getting the snare and that conga. So let's bring in the other elements. Bassline. Okay, so we've definitely got some elements that are working together quite well there. Now there was a really nice sound, I think this one. Now this is great. I'd really like to do something with this. If I just play what we've got. So it's a really nice sound on its own. I'm wondering if we can actually do something musical, because it's a single tone. So I'm thinking that possibly I could make a chord out of it, or some kind of arpeggio or something. So let's just put that into a simpler. I'm going to hit convert again, and I'm going to click on simpler. So there we go. It's put it onto a new track for us. So let's start off by just working on the start and end points of this. I think we can treat it as a one shot. Oh, not slicing. So let's just get the right start point and then the end point as well. And if we take the start point make it a bit cruder so it's not right at the start, it's actually kind of coming a little bit later. We get quite a nice attack there, so it sounds quite kind of electronic. I really like that. We can increase the gain. And we should check the tuning of this. And I'm just going to play. Let's go on to here. So let's just go back here so we can actually play the sound. Now, it'd be quite nice to actually play this from push. So what I'm going to do is actually look at the scale function here, put it to F. We know it's in F minor. There we go. And then it just means that this green, the pad that's green here is showing the tonic. So that's going to be the F. And I'm actually going to keep this back in classic mode. And let's just look at the envelope here. So if I just play this now. I'm liking that already. That definitely might be something that we can do with that. Let's make use of the arpeggiator. That's always a good one. So let's scroll down here, go to the MIDI effects, arpeggiator. Let's load that up. Let's change the sync rate to 16. And the steps. I'm just going to go back to the simpler and just take off the loop mode because I don't like it looping around like that. Let's just take that. And also let's change the mode as well. Maybe try converge. Let's put this in. I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm actually going to change the start point. So that's really nice. Let's try adding some ping pong delay to this as well. So I'm just going to scroll down. Try the ping pong delay. Take the feedback down. And dry wet value as well. So we've got a lot of the original coming through. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly check the tuning of this. There you go, you can hear that it's quite kind of off. Let's go to the global and the detune. Always worth checking the tuning. I mean, that's half a semitone, so minus 50 cents. Okay, now there was another great chord sound, which was this one here. I'd love it if we could get that to work. So let's go to the session view, let's go to convert again, and I'm going to put this into drum pad because I think what we're going to have to do, if we listen to this, we've got that, I don't know, it's a sort of shaker or something that's coming through there. Now, I'd really like to, rather than just, if I just loop that up, we're going to get that shaker, which is really loud, coming through. So it would actually be much better if we can kind of separate those first 3 chords using some kind of looping, just so we could actually make them individual sounds. So that's something we can do quite easily. What I'm going to do is change the mode of this to classic. That means we can actually use some looping on this. And let's just go straight in here, and first thing I'm going to do is just look at the envelope and take the release so it's really short. There we go. So let's go back now to the start point, zoom in a bit, and let's just get this first chord going. You can hear it changes. There's a little bit of sort of shaker starting at the end there. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, so I think we've got enough there to loop. So let's just turn the looping on and then just look at the loop length. And we've got the fade here. That's perfect. So let's just play this now. Now the tuning doesn't sound right on that, so let's just try putting it down a semitone. And maybe tune up a little bit. Great. That's working really well. So what we want to do now is because we've got this in a drum rack, is for the other two chords to put those on separate keys, and then we can actually play this in and be a bit more creative with it. So what I'm going to do is hit duplicate and then duplicate this onto another pad. So I'm going to put it onto the 4th pad as well, just in case, because we might be able to do something with the tuning for that. So let's go to the next one now. We want to find the start point of the next chord. And what's brilliant is it's keeping the same settings of the loop settings, because I've just duplicated this over. So all we need to do is just find the start and end point, and it's got the same settings. Maybe just a slight kind of click there at the start. And then we've got the final one, so let's just do a similar thing. Let's just zoom in a bit. There we go. And even though, like, when we're listening to it in isolation, we can kind of hear where it's looping around, once we start mixing in with the music, we're not going to hear that. And then for this one here, which is that first sample again, what we could do is we could just try tuning that up. So if we play everything now, so let's just try putting that in. nice to put something on this, like a filter. So let's just add. Let's try the auto filter. Let's try a nice circuit. Let's try this MS2. Let's just drag this so it's after. We could actually try using the LFO on this. Quite nice. We can. Might be nice to add some reverb to that. So we've kind of owned this sample now because we've done something to it. Working quite nicely with let's leave that as an option. I'm going to take that off for the moment. So we've got one more thing to do I want to try out, which is this vocal sample, and this was coming from this Anushka track, Never Can Decide. Let's just remind you of that. Now it's a great hook in itself. It'd be great if we can make it work with this. So let's just create another track, another audio track, and I'm just going to copy this down here. So let's just listen to it. Never can decide. Oh, I know. It's real. Oh, I know. It's real. So. Let's click on warp. So this is a good point here, this one, let's set 1.1 there. Just stop this. Let's just put the metronome back on. Keep dragging this along so it's in time. It seems like it's kind of all a bit out of time with itself, so I'm just adding in some manual warp markers. So there. Let's just drag that over. Okay, so that's good. Let's put the warp marker on. Let's just put the key rock back in so we can find what keys are in. So I'm hearing this is in C. So just like that other break, actually, the kind of beatbox break, we need to tune this up. So we're going to tune it up 5 semitones again. And you can see it's instantly sounding like kind of Mickey Mouse. So if we just put the Complex Pro on, we've then got a formant control. So it's very cleverly kind of retaining the original sound of that vocal voice, but it's tuning it up. So that's great. We've got quite a lot of elements there. So I think let's just do a bit of housekeeping. I'm just going to delete any tracks we're not using now, just so we've got all these samples together. I can just go ahead and just delete all this now. And let's just copy these right to the top. There we go. So that's everything together. Let's try to just kind of create a bit of a few scenes, just so we can sort of just get the start of what an arrangement could be. So what I'm going to do actually is just grab all this. I quite like doing it like this way. So we've got all the elements here, but then we can just grab which bits we need, what we're going to start with. So let's just rename this as well, just so we know what we're doing. Bit of housekeeping is always important. We've got this one. This is I'll just call this the beatbox. Then we've got the vocal hook. Let's just stop everything so we can play it. Okay, so we've got the kick and snare, percussion. And then we've got this bass line. And it's the arpeggio. Great, so let's just start off with the kick and the snare, and maybe the bass line. So I'm just dragging these up here. And just copy that down, and then let's just add in the snare. Let's duplicate that and then add in the chords. In fact, maybe we can have the beatbox in from the start. Quite a significant sample, that, I think. And let's just have one more element where we just bring in the arpeggio here. Then we can have the percussion coming in. Finally, we've got and I think when this vocal comes in, we can take out the beatbox. So I think we're just going to give it a bit more space, and maybe the arpeggio as well. And so yeah, I think we've kind of got definitely the startings of a track here. And what I would like to do, because it's kind of rude not to, is just try it out an acapella. So let's just put an acapella in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take away the stop button, because it means when we actually trigger this, it won't actually stop that clip from playing. So let's just have a listen to that. That is Q-Tip.
I gotta put some action on paper. Make sure my.
Let's just change the tempo.
put some action on paper. Make sure my verse jump up and spread out like the raper. The only tip I got for a waiter is watch the doorknob hit me where the dirty dog should have bit me. That was my train of thought, but for so long I fought. Now I'm at a level supreme to the devil. So turn up the bass and lay low on the treble. We be the Willie kids and you dead with the shovel. Revitalize, revive the tribe, nigga. The ladies sweat the style like the squirrel sweat the nuts. You know what fella's good for the moolah. Don't smoke no rulers. We the men, call me Slick Tip the ruler. Sometimes shakes on got me by the pressure points, but I could break the fella down like sex. You eat weed checks, but still light in the ass and can't flex. If one nigga front, I'ma make more pay. Cause tonight, we getting off like OJ. And yo, I got a dog that bites, fuck the barking. Yo, I got a crew with the beats and the smarts in.
So there we go.